say that anybody who ever met Sister Bert Lockett, or Sister Hat Shack Suit, you see what I'm saying? She had a strong and powerful demeanor about her. You see what I'm saying? But she had a great heart. You see. And I said, you know, when I was sitting there, I said, wait a minute. I said, now, we honored my mother back on Mother's Day, and I said, this woman is the same age as my mother. Her, I think, was born the same year. Her, Leonard Jeffries, Johnny Cochran, Nancy Wilson. She was giving me the whole lineup of these particular people. So I said, well, what we're going to do is, before we can go on, is we want to honor her, and we want to put her in alignment with the goddess, and we want to canonize her. What do they do when they make a saint in the people in Rome or whatever? We want to make our aspect of a making of a saint to say that sometimes people come in your midst and they do work behind the scenes, and it's always taken for granted. And sometimes we have to raise them up, because if we don't say thanks, then who's going to do it? And I was saying that to say that the goddess Tara sheds one tear, and that tear is the cry for the souls of us. That's what we're going to get into today, this compassion. Later on, Tara turns into Kuan Yin, and she cries for the souls of humans. You see what I'm saying? Cries for. Now it's interesting, because when I went down to my mother to celebrate her, I hadn't had a cold and stuff for 2 years or something, and I came down for some stuff up in the town, and it was released, and it was later on, I said, well, what's going on? You know, why did this happen? And later on, the end of the week, Tara said, well, we had to give you something to make you shed a tear, because you're one of the kind of people that don't necessarily, you know. And it's because I don't know, I didn't never really have a lot of sorrow in my life and stuff. My life has been a big playground. I can't front on you. You see what I'm saying? So they said, you know, shed a tear. And because I'm also from one of them families that just don't show the emotion. And I don't know whether that's bad or good. You see what I'm saying and all. But, because my mother was a school teacher and everybody in my family was school teachers, so I guess they went, this disciplined demeanor, you see what I'm saying, basically was prevalent in my family. You see what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to make here is, in order for my eyes to start watering, I had to come down with an actual cold. And then the goddess Tara said, this is how we was to get you to shed an actual tear. In saying that, to say is not only is she one of the most powerful extreme goddesses, but she's also the goddess that cried for the world. And I see that when I said the sister had Shapsu. She has a great heart, and everything lines up the way it is. And we want to give her a big hand right now. So we dedicate this year in this celebration to the goddess Hatshepsut, or the goddess Bert, for doing that. And I want to put that, and I guess in so many words we're going to have to do that. But we got a lot of scholars that went to their graves and people that worked tirelessly in the black community, and we really didn't celebrate them. Like Chancellor Williams died in an old folks home around D.C. or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like your boy John G. Jackson. I mean, I don't think there was some celebrations, and they did a lot for Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben, but I think that John G. Jackson should have been celebrated. But also, I want to say this, and this has a lot to do with it. Sister Hatshepsut and I worked from March of 1994 till the summer of 1998, and she moved back to Buffalo. And it was interesting because she moved back to Buffalo at the end of 97, and then she came back to New York in 98, and we did this last lecture together. It was interesting. We did about 2 or 3 days. And then we got in the car and we drove all the way up to Buffalo, which took damn near the whole day. And I did a lecture in Buffalo. Then I got on the train and caught the train back to Times Square because I had a brownstone my own brownstone in Brooklyn. She rent control and all. My aunt had it, and she moved down to Atlanta, and they gave me the keys. So I had this for about 2 or 3 years. And so it's interesting how you got this. It's interesting how sometimes you have to do for people even when you don't think you're supposed to do for people. She was in the hospital for a couple of months, and it was a young girl in her 30s would come and see her every day. And so one day the girl called and said, I need a place to stay. My apartment is, it's too high. And she called me and told me to mail the keys to this sister. And the sister got a rent control brownstone. You know, that rent control thing back in the day, that's forever. You keep passing it along. And so only because she would come to see her. So that's what I'm saying. So a lot of times you got to help people and you got to do things and stuff. Not necessarily to get nothing back, but sometimes there's blessings come to you when you give. You see what I'm saying? So I was in the brownstone. So I came back to New York from Buffalo. Was in the brownstone. Was getting ready to fly the next day. And the next morning, Dr. John Henry Clark died. And I said, man, this... So I said, isn't it ironic that the last time that me and the sister would do a lecture was the last time that Dr. John Henry Clark was on the planet? To show you how these things, it's like a passing on the baton to certain things, you see. So we want to deal with that, and we want to give her that honor and stuff. We want to put this on the tape so that this tape can go all out and people can know who Sister Bert Hatshepsut is. And it's interesting here because I told the sister Deborah, if you've ever seen the newsletters that they were circling around, and I used to, she featured me, Phil Valentine, several people, the sister down in Atlanta. I told her, I said, I think I'm supposed to go to New York. The Spirit told me to go to New York and to honor Sister Bert Hatshepsut. She said, it's interesting you would say that. She said, because 2 days ago they told me to do an interview with her and have an article in my next newsletter to show you how the Spirit all works with things. So in saying that, we want to give her the honor, we want to give her another round of applause. Say thank you. It's all good because I was supposed to buy a little gift. You see what I'm saying? And I fucked around and forgot about it, so if she was here, I would be, half-ass on it. See, now I can use this as an excuse to send it in the mail. You see what I'm saying? Okay, moving right along. We're going to get into a couple things, but right now to open this up, we're going to get into the hard